Hi everyone, and welcome to my first video for FTO. Special shout out to my boy Jet Screamer for giving me this chance. I am Ray Murphy, and I'm grateful that I finally get a chance to actually talk about some comics, TV shows, video games that I've actually really been meaning to want to talk about, and finally decided to try and actually go out there and do it. For my first video, it's going to be a little bit longer. I've got a lot I want to talk about with the subject because it's one that's been bothering me for a while now. Bear in mind, like I said, this is the first time I'm doing it, so there's going to be a little bit of mistakes here and there. I still can't get the lighting in my room to make it look like I didn't get punched in the eye. But let's give it a try. What I wanted to talk about today was a book that I was extremely excited for that just didn't live up to expectations so far, and I just kind of want to talk about why I have a problem with this book that's going on right now, and just like what I would like to see come from it further. And the book I'm talking about is Forever Evil Arkham War. Now, for those of you who don't follow DC or the New 52 or just don't do comics in general, which I don't know what brought you to this video, but welcome. Forever Evil Arkham War is basically the aftermath of the first issue of Forever Evil, where the crime syndicate has taken care of the Justice League and all of the heroes are gone. And Arkham is divided up Gotham City pretty much as a pie formation thanks to the Penguin, which from what I've seen has actually been really good because everyone's got their own sector and mayhem is just everywhere. But the only problem is Bane wants Gotham to himself. So he's bringing an army of 2,000 men to take it over, and in the process he's breaking out everyone out of Blackgate and having them follow. So not only does he have an army, he's got supervillains, thugs, anything you could ask for if you wanted to take over a city. That's the premise behind it, and that is an amazing premise in my opinion. I just can't believe it's taken so long. It seems like we've gotten since like a good Arkham War, which is exactly what this book is called. So my main problem with it kind of just started after issue 1. Issue 1 was what you expect from a first book of a new series. It was by the numbers, this happened and this happened. All the players were revealed for the most part. And, alright, I could dig it. It wasn't that bad at all. Issue 2 is where this book falls apart. And what I mean by falls apart is they don't show you anything. They just kind of tell you it after it's happened, or they'll show you what's going on in progress. A good example is, like I said, the book kind of just starts off really good. Starts off with Langstrom and the Man-Bat, as most of you might know him as, fighting just, to defend his sector. And he just rips this antenna out of the wall and just throws it through this guy's chest. And I was like, that's a good way to start the book. Great response by him talking about how science is at war with ignorance. Good start. After that, the book just kind of fell apart for me. They show Gordon talking with some detective girl I've never heard of before. I don't follow the main Batman books just because Batman the New 52 he's not as good as he used to be. I'll talk about that another time. But it talks about him saving these people's lives, and it just kind of bummed me out that I understand this is Arkham War. We're supposed to be focusing on the Arkhamites, but you could have showed Gordon saving people. I think that actually would have been a really good part, maybe even a tie-in story. But alright, let's focus on the villains. And they go and they talk about, Penguin, and he's having a meeting with Bane to try and minimize the casualties. And once they're done talking, he tells them, there's, an invasion going on of Blackgate to get your talents that you've gotten. So Bane runs off, and then Gordon gets caught up with the Penguin, and the Penguin's like, alright, now's a good time to break into Blackgate. So that's the stage. Our first battle's about to be revealed. And how epic was that first battle of this book between Arkham and Blackgate? 2 pages. 2.5, because they give you one. They give us this. Let's see, hold it up. This, man, I'm really, really terrible at this. Is the first battle, and then it's that. That is the extent of this invasion to get the Talons, and it's just, what? Like, 4 or 5 pages. You couldn't show, like, this is what we want to see. We want to see our favorite Arkham people doing, like, what they do best, you know, killing, just being badasses, and we're not getting that with this book. And I was just, like, taken away from it right away, and the book ends with Bane capturing Langstrom and Scarecrow, which didn't make any sense to me at the time, but I was like, alright, well, let's see where this goes. Issue number 3 comes along. Croc Hunt. Okay, that's pretty cool. Croc's, you know, a badass. Let's see Croc fight Bane. And it opens up with Killer Croc carrying Scarecrow out of the sewers, and it's not structured very well. I did actually count from the time Scarecrow got captured to whenever they showed up at Wayne Tower was 3 pages, if you count between the 2 books. And if this is going to be a collector's edition, that's just going to throw everyone off, I think, or at least someone who hasn't read the story who just picks it up. It's just, I don't know, you didn't have to make a big deal. They could have just shown Killer Croc, you know, rescuing him, just picking him up and going into the sewers, like at the end of book 2 or the very beginning of book 3. Don't just have Scarecrow going, oh, thanks for that rescue, Croc. No, it's just not very well structured, at least in my opinion. And the book from there, it's okay. They end up showing that, you know, a couple more people from Arkham get taken out. They have someone in here, you can see get stabbed in the 2nd book that's still fighting in the 3rd one. I only recognized her, that's the one fighting Poison Ivy there. I don't know who that is. The only other story I've seen that person in was the Flying Grayson, the Dead Man story from Flashpoint, and like I said, I didn't even pay attention to who it was. I just know they got ripped in half by the Amazon. Or just, like, broken in half, so it doesn't even seem like they want to keep the players, like, keep track of who's who in this book. So, it ends kind of anticlimactically, or at least as much as it could be, with Bane taking on a new identity, which I won't spoil since this is the newest one, but he wins. Like, I can kind of spoil that much, because the next issue is going to be pretty epic, at least according to DC Comics. It's going to be Bane teaming up with the Talon that he rescued as a new dynamic duo, and I absolutely love the Talon that he rescued. He was from another story, the Nightwing Court of the Owls, for those of you who read that. So you actually know, like, that was probably one of the better issues I've read of the New 52, especially as a Nightwing fan, just going into his background. I'm a huge, huge Nightwing fan. I'll be getting to him next, at least in my next video. But this book still has potential. I'm just going to kind of close by saying that the one thing that I feel hurts this book the most, and this might sound like a fanboy, or like someone who's just crying, you can't do a good Arkham story, at least in my opinion, without the Joker and Harley. And, you know, they kind of had their hands tied with this one. I know they want to put more of the focus on Scarecrow, which they haven't done. You know, Penguin, which they've kind of done. But the Joker is the villain that everyone in the world can recognize. He's one of DC Comics, and even comics in general's greatest villains. And you gotta look at stuff like Salvation Run, where, like, even if he's not the main focus, he still draws attention to himself, and he still makes books enjoyable just with this humor. And there's no humor in this book at all, and nothing, you know, granted that's the New 52 in general, but it's just something I really wish they would focus a little bit more on. Just, you know, put some personalities in this book, because right now the only person who's actually getting screen time, who's actually showing personality, is Bane, and Bane's personality is kind of, you know, I want to rule this area. Like, he doesn't really even give much motivation other than, you know, Batman took the city from him, so he wants it back. So, I'm hoping that the person the crime syndicate brought over from their world is a new Joker that they can bring into the New 52, but until the next couple issues kind of come out, I don't see how this is going to end coherently or with a decisive winner. So, I'm going to be along for the ride, but I'm skeptical. I've really had high hopes for this book, but it's just been a mess. So that's my first video. I promise my other ones won't be nearly as long with this one. I tried to cover 3 issues. From now on, I'm going to try to do maybe just 1 or 2. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to be back soon. Until then, you guys have a great one.